This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. Why don't you just consider this your vitamin or supplement for your mind, your heart, and your soul? Wherever you listen to podcasts, would you mind subscribing to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom and leave a rating and a brief written review? It would be very, very helpful. I have a question I want to ask you today, and it applies to all of us. What has shaped you? What has gone into making you the person you are today? We are shaped by lots of things. There are lots of things that have added color and texture to our lives and have deposited into our learning bank. As a matter of fact, all of life is a learning laboratory. Let's just think about it. What has shaped you? See if this doesn't ring a bell with you. How about the events and circumstances of your life? All of us were born in a particular place, in a particular time, and to a particular family. We had no say-so in what we would look like, our skin color, our language, the nation we would be born into, nor the family we were born into. But make no mistake, all of that shapes us. There's no way to get around it. No use to fight it. It is a part of what has shaped you. For some, it was a very positive home environment, and that has shaped you and has helped to create your worldview. For others, they were born into very difficult circumstances, and that too has colored your vantage point and has given you experiences and situations where you can help others and speak into the lives of other folks. The people outside of your family, school teachers, neighborhood friends, people you hung out with, people you've met, people you've worked with, people you've lived next door to, have all added something to your life. I had a junior high Sunday school teacher. Now, you know, if someone was my junior high Sunday school teacher and they're still living, they are an older person. My Sunday school teacher from junior high is still living in Fort Wayne, Indiana. He is in his 90s. His name is Joe Yater. And I was thinking the other day of a Sunday school class lesson he delivered to an unruly group of teenagers. And it so impacted my life that these 40-some years later, I can still remember the lesson, the sincerity with which he taught the lesson. Joe was one of 2 or 3 men in my church because I didn't have a father. Every year, our church had a father and son banquet, and Joe picked me up, took me in his car, paid my way, and he was, for that evening, my father. Now, that may seem like a little thing to you, but that has shaped my worldview. The men and the women who gave when they didn't have to, who went the second mile, and really had an impact on my life. And it has shaped my view of look for somebody that you can help. Look for somebody who's missing something and see if you can't provide some help. Other things that go into shaping us is our formal training, our formal education. And that may be nothing more than high school education if you went to college. Formal education does have some shaping. Sometimes it's overblown, but it does have a part to play. How about deliberate training? I'm amazed at people who cease learning once they get out of school, be it junior high, high school, or college. Most of the things that we do in life, we're going to have to be trained for. We weren't born knowing how to do those things. And so I'm going to imagine that we have been shaped by our deliberate training. I know I have. Back when John Maxwell was just getting started, and not that many knew who he was holding a leadership conference in Marion, Indiana, which wasn't too far from where I was living. And I remember that was like a lifeline as a young pastor. That was the first time I really was involved in leadership training, and that deliberate training, as well as many, many other events that I've been to in my lifetime, have also shaped who I am and how I lead and how I live. And then I think we could just have a general category of life's experiences. I will continue along the way, tell you different experiences from my life, but they all have somehow shaped our lives. Now, many of us wish we could change some of those things, but stop fighting them and step back and ask the question, what was the struggle about? What life lessons did I live and learn? What grace did I experience that now I can give to others and dispense to others, rather than going around filled with negativity about how bad it was and how awful things were? Have you ever thought it is a part of your education? It's a part of shaping you to be the woman or man that you are, and that you have an experience that you can help others with, and you can be a blessing to others. Perhaps you went through those hard times not only to come out of it, the test, but you have a testimony, and you can share with others. You too can make it. Many people think they want to learn 1,000 things, and sometimes I've found that I've had to learn one thing, and one thing how to do it in 1,000 different ways. So don't be so concerned with having a lot of knowledge and only being an inch deep. Learn things well and use your life experiences. The next thing I want to say about what has shaped you is you are unique. There's no one else in the world who's had your family, your experience, and the events that have happened in your life but you. You are unique, and you are here for a unique reason, and we need your contribution. I don't care if you're forgotten about, you think no one notices you, you're way off there by yourself and no one really cares. You are unique. You're where you are on purpose, and you have something to contribute. Don't forget it. So as you think about your own uniqueness and all of the things that have gone into shaping your life, there are some clarifying questions that you can ask that kind of may help you understand what are some areas where you can serve, and where are some areas that you can be a leader, and what are some of the areas in which you can influence others. Now, how you can begin clarifying that is, let me ask you a couple of clarifying questions. What today are you really opinionated about? What is it that you are really passionate about? I have neighbors that are really passionate about their yard and flower gardening. And if you ever want to know anything, all you have to do is walk across the street and say, hey, I'm having this difficulty. What are those flowers? How do you do that? And they will give you a dissertation. They are as passionate as any flaming evangelist that has ever lived. Whatever your opinion, I know people who are opinionated and they love painting and they love cooking and they can talk about it. They are opinionated. Now, nowadays in our culture, we know people on all sides of the spectrum who are opinionated about politics, but whatever you have well-developed opinions about may be an area in which you can help others because you're opinionated. Hopefully, now it's not always true in politics, but in other things, if you have strong opinions, it's probably because you know something about it and you're somewhat passionate about it. The second clarifying question is somewhat like the first one, and that is, if I were to sit down with you for a half hour or an hour and say to me, tell me something I don't know, or just tell me what you are passionate about, and whatever you can talk about passionately for a half hour is something you really need to consider, that may be a part of your unique contribution in life. If there's something you are really passionate about, that may be one of the very areas in which you are going to offer and give and make a unique contribution. Now, maybe you're being challenged at work, at home, in your own life, wherever it may be, that you need to try some new things. And maybe in the organization where you work or where you live or where you volunteer, there are changes that are needed to happen. If we're going to make the changes that need to happen, whether it's in our personal life, our work, our family, it makes no difference. If we're going to go into areas that need to be changed, you and I are going to begin doing things we've never done before. And that can be just a little bit frightening. But again, what are the areas you're passionate about? Are you willing to study the change? Are you willing to commit to it? If you're going to change, you're going to have to start doing things you've never done before. And hey, it's okay. It's a part of your life training. It's a part of the event and the experiences of your life that will uniquely shape you to be the person that you are. Now, whatever that situation is today, whatever that goal is, whatever the project is, whatever the change is that you want to see happen in your life, I have one word for you: begin. And you can only lead from who you are, not what you know. The character of a leader is indispensable. At the end of the day, very few leaders fail because of what they don't know, but many fail because of who they weren't. They didn't have integrity. You can only lead for so long out of intimidation, fear, or even a skill set. You and I must lead because of who we are. And you'll say, I have no experience to be a leader. I have no credentials. You do have credentials. You have been shaped by the Creator and the events and people and formal and deliberate training and experiences and all the things that go into making you the unique person you are. Just begin where you are. Volunteer somewhere. Tutor a child. Take a classroom on. Do something to invest in others, because leadership is not about the leader. Leadership is about helping others. And you've been created and uniquely shaped to make a contribution in your world. Will you go out today and begin to make a difference in someone's life? And things will change dramatically when you begin to invest in others. Don't worry about what you don't know and what you can't do. You are uniquely qualified. You have been shaped and directed in a way to make a difference. This has been Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. Consider this your vitamin or supplement for your mind, your heart, and your soul. Today, would you think about it? What has shaped you? What is the unique contribution that only you can make to this world? And begin and start not where you'd like to be, but where you are. Leader, you're doing better than you think you are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a blessed and great week.